Well, hello there. I was just doing a little bit of research on coffee grounds because I had taken a coffee can full, well, not full, but a fourth full of some spent coffee grounds that I've saved over the winter time and some eggshells, and I mixed it all together and I threw it in that tote that has the cover over it now to mix in the spring. So it wasn't able to mix in because the ground is still frozen in the tote. So it's pretty much just on the top 2 inches of the soil. So I was doing some research. What kind of plants thrive with coffee grounds mixed in the soil? Now remember to check the nitrogen level of your soil before you do anything. Because if it's already high in nitrogen, the extra boost from the coffee grounds could stunt the growth of fruits and flowers. So this is what one of the articles said. There's yays and nays on this particular topic, and it will be up to you to research it and make your own decision. I'm just trying to figure it out for myself because I struggle sometimes with certain things. And I know where I put the coffee grounds into what plants. So here we go. It said, what plants thrive with coffee grounds that have been spent? Meaning you've already, brewed your coffee, and you save your grounds, and you put it in a can, and then you put it in the soil. Okay, number 1 is roses, blueberries, azaleas, carrots, radishes, hydrangeas, cabbage, lilies, hollies, and rhododendrons. These thrive when mixed with coffee grounds in the soil, they say. So there are a few things that I would have put coffee grounds in, meaning the lilies, the hydrangeas, the cabbage, the carrots, and the radishes. Those are the things I have. I don't have any of the other things. No coffee grounds for acid-loving plants. Coffee for acid-loving plants. Don't put coffee grounds on tomatoes, clover, or alfalfa. So tomatoes would be the only thing since I don't grow clovers or alfalfa in my garden. So I thought, okay, so I'm writing it down on my pad right here as I'm researching, and I was going to transfer it over, to my the gardening book. And then I did a little bit more research. And I wanted to know, that was the yay on coffee grounds. Well, with every yay that people, swear by, there's always an A somewhere. And whether it be, truthful, or whether it be science, or whether it be just wishful thinking, who knows? But there was quite the big nay on coffee grounds used in your garden for your vegetables. So let's see if we can discuss this a little bit, and possibly it'll be something to think about. You know how we all feel good about adding coffee waste to our soil for our growing garden vegetables. We also put it in our compost to mix it up, like we do with the eggshells and whatnot. But did you know that coffee grounds could kill your earthworms because it's so highly acidic? Yeah, it can. And if your soil is, like I said before, already highly in nitrogen, I think that's a face cream, nitrogen, the extra boost from coffee could stunt the growth of fruits and flowers, like I said. But those warnings ignore one big problem with spent coffee grounds. They're full of caffeine. I didn't think of that. Probably even decaffeinated coffee still has caffeine in it. Yeah. So it's full of caffeine. So what would the caffeine be doing to the soil and then transferring it to our plants? Well, to understand why caffeine is bad for your garden, you need to understand why certain plants produce caffeine in the first place. Did you know that about plants? Well, let me tell you, I had no idea. You probably know that both coffee and chocolate contain caffeine. Yeah, I knew that. I get really revved up after a candy bar or that second cup of coffee. I'm raring to go. Give me a chore to do and I'll do it for you. Yeah, that's me. Even though they come from entirely different plants, those plants aren't even related. They evolved the ability to produce caffeine independently. Now, I just find that amazing. Just think about that. They evolved. Isn't it amazing how things evolve with time? And whatever they are, forced to evolve around or to adjust in lieu of what's happening or their circumstance. I find that so interesting. And biologists call it a convergence evolution. A convergent evolution. When two species evolve the same trait completely on their own. Wow. It's a sign that that trait probably has a very useful purpose. For caffeine, that purpose is competition. It kills off any plants in the surrounding area. Well, that put the fear of gardening into me. You might think you squeezed every last drop of caffeine out of those grounds in your French press. I don't happen to own one, nor would I know how to use it. Think again. Chemists have found that there could be up to 8 milligrams of caffeine per gram of used coffee grounds. Wow. Wow. Depending on how long the grounds steeped in the water. That means after you brewed a shot of espresso, the grounds contain as much as caffeine as a cup of tea. Wow. This blows my mind when I try and think, what do I do for my garden? You try and do the best things each growing season, and I live up in Ontario, Canada, so we have a very short growing season. My zone is 4A. I mean, it's not long. So you got to do the best you can for your plants, to the best of your own ability, and if you're doing something you think is good, anyhow, I don't know. I don't know what's true and what's not. I really don't. But it does give me a moment of pause. It's even true when you've composted the coffee grounds with other organic waste. It inadvertently found that compost spiked with coffee grounds kill earthworms. And remember how adding organic material attracts helpful bacteria? Well, coffee grounds also have an antibacterial property. Bye-bye, little buggies. Yep, I didn't know that. Antibacterial properties. So I wonder, makes me pause, just outside of the garden, but if it has antibacterial properties in coffee, it might be why I've been so healthy all these years. I'm going to be 64. I'm very healthy. A lot of my friends aren't doing so well at my age, but I'm doing pretty well, considering. I wonder if those antibacterial properties have been saving me from things that could have been happening. I digress. I have no idea. But I don't know whether or not I need to skim off the top of that tote that contains the coffee grounds and just put it somewhere where I don't plan to grow plants. I always add coffee grounds ever since I heard about it years ago. I added them, and I always have trouble with my plants. Now I can't remember because I didn't mark which beds got it. Typically I will wait until spring and I'll put it in my compost. And then it gets mixed and composted down, and it gets sifted and everything, but it's still in there. And they said even in composted organic material, it's still there. The caffeine. The caffeine is pretty powerful, isn't it? No wonder every time I wake up in the morning I hurry and reach for that first cup of coffee, because I don't know what I'd do without it. I'd probably be fine. And obviously it's very strong also in the garden and very harmful to the helpful bacteria that we're trying to grow. And that's why we have no-dig gardens, because we don't want to disturb the earthworms or the helpful bacteria in our soil, which is why there's no-dig is very, very popular. I do not know the yays and nays on that. I know a lot of people swear by it. I mean, I'm going to do a no-dig because I can't dig hardly anymore. And to dig down in my yard, you pull up boulders of rocks. You don't pull up rocks, you pull up boulders. If you watched, watch my Life is a Journey Part 2, you'll see the boulders in front of my hostess bed. Yeah. That's what I pull up when I try and dig a hole. Or a trench or whatever, which is what you have to do for a permaculture bed typically, and then you bury the wood. Yeah, I'm doing a different type of lasagna layering in my garden. Then I heard nay about the cardboard. Oh my goodness, and I've been saving cardboard for 2 years, so in preparation for this second permaculture bed, because I wanted to go no-dig. And I didn't want to even skim the grass. I just went, well, it's not really grass back there. It's mainly weeds, dandelions and that people make wine out of. I had a dog, so that wasn't an option for me. I no longer have my pup, but I don't drink, so that would be silly. Or the thistles. Yeah, I get those too. Now I hear that that's good for fertilizer, so I'll be saving the thistle plants that... Two houses down, they were renting an apartment, and they didn't mow the lawn all summer, so their thistles grew to be trees, and then the giant flower on the thistle, it exploded one summer day, and all those seed pods just floated like dandelions, like it was snowing in August. And it floated my way, and I went, no, I wish I had a giant fan. I could just blow them back over there, because they hurt if you step on them. Yeah, I can't go barefoot in my yard. Not that I would, but anyhow. Yeah, cardboard, I hear. I got to do more research. I may do it anyway, just for FYI, just for my own information. But, yeah, it's something to ponder over, something to think about. So... maybe before you throw that can of spent coffee grounds into your garden or your compost bin, maybe do a little research about what possibly could be happening biology-wise. I know we're all, around the world sort of probably tired of hearing about the science of this, the science of that. You know why, since 2020. But there is a standard of science that makes sense, I reckon. Well, it's like baking. Baking is a science. If the humidity's high and you're baking bread, it's going to alter your end result. The humidity's low, it's going to alter the amount of water you use, and vice versa. It is a science. You need baking powder. You need your baking powder to be fresh. If it's not fresh, you're not going to get good results. It's the science of the chemical reaction of the baking powder to your whatever you're cooking. So, I do put some, relevance in science, and also trying out, for myself. Try. Plant one tomato with coffee grounds in the soil, plant the other one without, and see what happens. Possibly that's what I'll do. I'll run a test. That's what I'll do. I'll take the yays and the nays and I'll run a test with both. Yeah, that's a good idea. Stay tuned for more if you're interested. Which you should be, because if we're trying and struggling to grow things and we wonder why it doesn't turn out, this may be a simple solution for everyone.